Hi everyone, it's Megan Caticcio, and I just wanted to talk to everyone today about type 2 diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes is a disease where our body doesn't use our insulin properly. Now, insulin is a hormone that's created in our pancreas, and it helps us to regulate our glucose levels. Now, when you're first diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, they're going to tell you that you need to monitor your glucose levels and you need to be able to take insulin. Now, most people are able to move on and create a better lifestyle for themselves, whether that be changing their diet or being more physically active, and then they can reduce the levels of insulin they're taking, or some may not even take it at all. But for the people that still need to monitor those levels, there's devices called a CGM and a GM. Now, a CGM I actually have right here. It stands for Constant Glucose Monitor, and it means that something's going to be injected into the side of your stomach, and it's going to read those glucose levels. And then that's going to show up on the screen. And then once it shows up on the screen, you're going to be able to make the decision to take insulin or not. Now, the GM is something where you prick your finger, which I think a lot of us have seen this, where you prick your finger and then you do the test strips. And then that will read your glucose level, and then you'll decide if you want to take insulin or not. So, again, going back to when you're first diagnosed, now all of a sudden you have an increased risk of having a stroke, an increased risk of heart disease, an increased risk of high blood pressure, which are all very serious things. I think especially living in America, we know these things are very, very serious. But so is type 2 diabetes. Diabetes is the 6th leading cause of death in America. So we need to just take a step back and look at this and, increase our knowledge. So who's at risk? Am I at risk? Are you at risk? These are questions, we want to know the answers to. So some of the risk factors that we know of are race, weight. If you're overweight or obese, that is a huge risk factor, as well as family history. So if someone in your family has type 2 diabetes, you are more likely to develop type 2 diabetes than someone who comes from a family where there isn't. And that's not to say if no one in your family has type 2 diabetes, you're in the clear. You definitely still are at risk and need to be careful. Now, endocrinologists actually used to refer to type 2 diabetes as adult onset diabetes, which would mean that an adult would come in and later on in their life, they would be diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now doctors are steering away from calling it that, because now 1 in 3 children are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, which is very shocking, especially for a disease that was named after the fact that you would get it as an adult. Now, why? Why are these children developing diabetes? Why did we not see that before? I think we can look back and look at our lifestyle choices, such as what we eat. A lot of us are eating very processed things like McDonald's and cookies and Oreos and stuff like that, where they're extremely high in sugar, which is not good for anyone, especially those at risk for type 2 diabetes. So we need to just steer away and make more fruits and veggies. And I understand that a lot of people feel that it's easy and they've worked all day and it's just easy to give their kids McDonald's. I understand that, but this is, again, very important for your future and your children's future, to, look at the long run and, maybe meal prep or decide something that's going to work for you guys. And being physically active is another thing that we can start to do. You don't have to run on a treadmill, especially now in our current state. We can find time to go outside and go for a walk and clear our minds and get our blood and everything going, Also, summer's coming up, swimming's a great source of physical activity. So there's a lot of things that we can do besides just knowing, you can make changes in your day-to-day lives. Now, I just told you all this information. What are you going to do? And what does this mean? So now, knowledge is power. We say that all the time. Knowing things and having this privilege to know about type 2 diabetes and all this other stuff we learn about is so important. And we need to share that with people that maybe don't have the privilege to learn. So when we, need to move on, we need to ignore try to ignore the sedentary lifestyle and, just not normalize type 2 diabetes, especially for our youth. This is not normal. It's something that we need to take a step back, look at, and, make a change instead of just thinking about what we could do and maybe not doing it. So we just, again, want to stay away from normalizing type 2 diabetes. And, we don't want to feed into the statistic. We want to try to see the statistic and understand what that means for us, our children, our families, and make a choice for ourselves to keep this knowledge and keep that close to us and move on and create a better lifestyle for ourselves and everyone else. So I just want to thank everyone for listening. Wish I could see everyone in class. Bye.